It's happy hour from uptown New Orleans. Hey, everybody. I am not Grant Morris. You can probably tell because I don't have a cool accent.
Yep.
And you can't tell this, but I also don't have a ponytail. This is Rich Collins of Imagination Movers, the Disney Channel, Loyola University, etc. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network, itsneworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans. And this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common other than that we're all New Orleanians in the bar. Today we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street. Wayfare is a restaurant and bar serving handcrafted food and spirits with a radically new menu and a radically new 3-hour happy hour every day from 3 to 6. Everything's half price, drinks and appetizers. And did I mention they do it every day? All right, joining me today are award-winning vocalist and educator Guy Tem.
Hey.
Hello, Guy.
Hey, Guy.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. We also have award-winning journalist and communications professional David Lee Simmons.
Hello.
Hey,
What's up,
David.
buddy?
Hi.
We have award-winning Christian Simeon and Sebastian Weston of the band Outlaw Nation.
How's everybody doing?
What's
How y'all
up?
doing? And as always, the multiple award-winning Andrew Duhon, musician extraordinaire.
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
Very good. Very happy.
Awesome.
So, Guy, I want to ask you some questions.
Okay,
I'm fascinated with your story.
shoot.
How do you go from being a 12-year-old opera prodigy in Turkey to being a music professional and educator in New Orleans, Louisiana today?
Ooh. So that's a multi-part question.
Yes.
You will
So-
be graded.
Let's see. I never knew that I was going to be a singer. I'm coming from a musical family. My father is a famous musician. My brother is a composer. And I always wanted to study music, and I did, starting when I was 12. I always went to a music conservatory, studied 15 years in a music conservatory. And
This is back home in...
yeah, in Turkey, and I always rode the short bus. So, and after all that stuff, finally I ended up in here.
Right.
I just came here for 2 weeks to sing with the New Orleans Opera.
What year was that?
That was 2007,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't leave since. So
What was the production?
it was for a concert. Then we did La Traviata, I think.
La
That was the
Traviata.
first thing. It maybe. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
How did you do that?
What do you mean?
How'd you sing? You did good?
Yeah, it was a pretty good production. Yeah.
I'm curious, how is New Orleans, the environment, the weather, how is that for a vocalist, for an opera singer? Is it good?
It's
to be-
actually really good.
I was thinking the
It's
humidity.
really good. Yeah, absolutely. So,
What kept you here? So you came and performed here. Why are you still
well, it's a great city for me because I teach singing and primarily teach professional singers. And there are so many professional singers in here. So I couldn't have done this anywhere else. So that's one thing. And the company, the opera company, is a very strong company. So wait a second. So I get to sing. I get to live in a European city.
Right.
And I get to sing opera, and I can make a living teaching in here. So I couldn't have done this anywhere else, and that's no brainer for me. I tried it. I went to New York and stayed about 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Lasted 6 months in New York and came back in here.
Oh, that's great.
And this is home now. It's been 9 years.
I think your story probably rings true for a lot of the creative community and a lot of people around this table. Yeah, this city is an incubator in a way that a lot of places can't be.
Yeah, it's funny. Usually there's a more, shall we say, diverse spread, but today there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 are musicians around the table, so that's kind of fun.
David Lee, do you play any music?
In the shower, I
Okay.
sing.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, it's about as close as I get.
All right, we'll call it 6 out of 6. That's great. Good for
I
you.
play my kids' bongos. That's about as
good.
close as I get.
Yeah, so the having nothing in common doesn't really apply today, does it?
Right? Yeah.
So, well, Guy, your story is fascinating, and I'm also interested in what you teach as a professional singer, performer. I have terrible trouble. I lose my voice all the time, and so like voice expertise is something that's interesting to me, so I definitely want to ask you more questions. But let me just introduce David Lee. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. So tell us about what you're working on. Obviously, you and I go way back, but your new project sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I do communications work for a foundation for Louisiana, which invests in the people and practices that work to reduce vulnerability and build stronger and more sustainable communities statewide, which includes a lot of different programming. One of the things I'm talking about right now is the LEAD program, which the registration ends on Friday, so we're trying to get the word out about that, which basically is a leadership skills training workshop that lasts about 7 weeks, and then it builds and springs forward and does a lot of other cool stuff for the community.
How many people can you guys accommodate?
Generally, we try to be intentional about the size and try and keep it intimate, but we usually get around 20 to 30 people for this.
Okay.
We're a little lower than we had planned in the 2014 cycle, but we're expecting somewhere between 20 to 25 people for this one.
So it's a leadership seminar, so workshop sort of thing, and what kind of people usually come to this? Is it ball coaches or teachers or something?
A lot of the people that we get are often in communities where they want to make a difference. They have an idea that there are things that need to be done. There are improvements that need to be made. And they've always wanted to be some kind of advocate or activist.
Take the lead, yeah.
But they just haven't gotten the footing for it. They haven't gotten the training for it. They haven't made the connections to get grant funding for it. So we take them through these three cycles.
Okay.
I was telling Rich earlier, it's almost like training wheels for other nonprofits.
Do you get as in-depth as to teach people how to go about getting grants?
Absolutely.
Cool.
That's the third part of our program. Actually,
Okay.
the LEAD program is the first part of what's called the Together Initiative, which is an umbrella term for the three parts of it. And then once they go through the workshop, we have what's called the Equity Caucus, where they meet activists, organizers, elected officials, Foundation for Louisiana staff, and we basically zero in for 2 months on what they really want to do, become much more focused about what they want to do, and then we start preparing them for getting grant funding.
Yeah, so it's like a representative on a cellular level. You know, it's not a city or a state person; it's a neighborhood person who's trying to spearhead something. You know?
Exactly.
Cool.
And we want to be. Our buzzwords are equity, inclusion. We feel like I think before we came along, sometimes philanthropies and foundations were known for throwing money at situations. We try and identify people. Try and identify the best practices, and then almost like play matchmaker between these huge philanthropies like Kresge or Ford Foundation or Kellogg Foundation.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come to us and say, we got a lot of money, we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Then we have activists who say, I want to do something, but I don't have any money.
And how do you keep your rep with somebody like Kellogg? You know, they give you some money, and then is it your responsibility to kind of show them what their money is doing, I suppose,
Absolutely.
right?
One of the most important aspects of any grant funding that you get is how you track your success. And so we were able to get grant funding for a partnership with aspiring organizers and through the Greater New Orleans Housing Alliance. We created together something called Housing NOLA. And out of the Together initiative, starting with the LEAD program, we all came up with this 10-year strategic and implementation plan for housing, so that it was almost like a policy paper that people could use and go to the city council and say, look, we've got this 10-year plan that can give you a lot better strategies for how to do equitable housing practices, because what's one of the biggest issues facing New Orleans right now? Fair housing and equitable housing and affordable housing. Well, now we have ideas that can guidelines that people can use going into the next decade.
Oh, cool.
I want to ask you about the Mardi Gras Indian example you were telling me about, but before we do that, I want to see if I can throw it to Christian and Sebastian to play us some music.
Oh, right on.
You guys feel like playing a song?
Yeah, for sure.
What was the name of the band again?
Outlaw Nation.
Outlaw Nation.
I like the sound of that.
All right, folks, this is Outlaw Nation. What song are you guys going to do?
It's a song called Tie-Dye Girl.
Tie-Dye Girl? Sounds great.
So I can make you love. But muscle now, no I'm all confused. Baby, drop the gasoline and just light the fuse. Put you right there, yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Girl, you're 6'1", no 6'3", but I don't really care 'cause it's meant to be. If you ever run low, just think of me. You know the young stalker with the tie-dye tee. Now they don't understand why we are how we are. While we're fish around the country in a beat-up car. But maybe I do, I think you understand. In other words, I'm your number one fan. Drop, Alexis hot. Cut your pepper, mama. Drop, Alexis hot. Cut your pepper, mama. Drop, Alexis hot. Cut your pepper, mama. Drop, Alexis hot. Thank you.
Nice. So tell us about that song and about how long you guys been together. What's y'all's story?
The band's been around for like 15 years.
Oh, what?
Yeah. 10 records. That song's called Tie-Dye Girl. Obviously, it's about a girl who has hippie tendencies that follows the band Fish around, you know, that I was in love with at some point.
Okay.
15 years as an outlaw, and they still haven't gotten arrested yet, so that's good.
I know, right?
It's a good record.
That's great. So what's coming up for you guys?
Well, actually, this weekend we're going to do a 3-day run in Texas.
Great.
Austin, Houston, Dallas, our normal Texas run.
Cool. What are the spots in Austin, Houston, Dallas?
We're playing Fitzgerald's in
Yeah,
Houston.
great spot.
The Door in Dallas.
Okay.
And this little spot called the Sahara Lounge
Okay.
in Austin. So
Yeah.
it should be a lot of fun.
And who you got with you besides y'all two?
In the band?
Yeah.
Got a young guy named Dylan on bass, one of George Porter's students.
Okay. Who's your drummer?
A guy named Cliff Aaron.
All
He's
right.
actually from Arkansas, but he's played with the
So was
people
Levon
too.
Helm, so that worked out. All right.
Right on, I know, right? Yeah, the band.
That's good. So there's four you guys.
Well, there's actually 5. Dave Easley, the pedal steel player.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the band as well.
Oh, man.
Tasty. Yeah,
I want to see y'all next time you play in town here.
Oh, right on.
Maybe Jazz Festy or something.
Around French Quarter, we're actually doing like an after show party thing at Checkpoint, Charlie's.
Oh, great.
After show for the French Quarter Fest on April 7th.
Cool. That sounds really good. Well, there's a lot of gesturing. Is any of that relevant to us? No, we're okay. But hey, so David Lee, I saw it. David Lee Simmons and I both worked at Gambit Weekly newspaper a while back.
I was almost practically hired to replace him, which is nigh impossible.
Yeah.
One does not replace a Rich Collins.
You're too kind. So do we ever overlap? You maybe
No,
did some.
you got out of there. You said, this guy's coming in. I got to
That's
get
funny.
out.
All right, so so we knew each other from back in the day. But I was looking up just your history, and I saw that you were a sports writer
Yes.
before you became an arts and culture writer.
Yes, I was born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida, went to Florida State. My dad taught there, and for 10 years I was a sports writer covering Florida A&M athletics and some Florida State athletics as well.
Oh, very nice. So in light of you being a sports writer, do you guys now want to make fun of the Falcons for a while?
I actually spent 7 years in Atlanta, so I got a little bit more sensitivity to them. But the only reason why I wanted Atlanta to win was to remind the Bensons of how badly they've run the Saints the last few years. However, that did not happen.
No, that was a pretty amazing comeback.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, a lot of things had to go right, and not too many things could go wrong. You know, and
Oh my Lord,
they
y'all!
pulled it out. Unbelievable.
That was a game where, as a New Orleanian, as a diehard Saints fan, there's really no good outcome.
Sure.
But somebody on Facebook made the salient point that was after the game. Well, the score was tied at the end of regulation, so Saints fans won.
Yeah, I guess, to a certain
Neither
extent.
team won in regulation, so you can hold on to that.
I guess even though I certainly, like everybody, I'm over the Patriots. I guess what happened to the Falcons is definitely ultimately good for the Saints.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a funny story in today's paper about just will they ever recover?
I think they will.
And the
Actually.
answer is
I
yes,
think
they will.
It's a young team, but every time you count the Patriots out, look what happens. So
Yeah.
until you prove
Fair
otherwise.
enough. All right, so Well, Guy, so back to tell me about your voice teaching over at Tulane. You were telling me you do also a course in musicianship.
Yeah, I do teach a musicianship course in Tulane and started this semester.
Maybe you can help us around the table with our musicianship.
I don't think so. Well, you got a pretty good voice.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You,
Absolutely.
thank you.
So,
So yeah, tell me about what is it? What do you cover in that class?
what I cover is I pretty much fill in the blanks. It's when they hired me, they told me, hey, these kids are all in different levels of musicians, and some of them, like classically trained, some of them play guitar,
Right.
some of them know how to write and read music really well, some don't. You need to figure out what they need, what's missing in their thing, and come with a curriculum of your own. There's no syllabus to help you with, and you need to figure out. And this time, our goal is that, so they are taking harmony lessons, they are taking theory lessons, they have to be backed up, and whatever they have missing, it has to be filled up. So it's a great opportunity for me to, run my horse the way I want it.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun because I feel that I truly help people in the place where they need most.
What do you feel like a common thing that these kids are needing work on?
So I studied in Europe, and the music system in here is pretty different. You're a musician here, so I teach them solfège, which they never almost heard of.
So for our listeners who may not know what solfège is, and maybe for like a host that doesn't exactly know what it is,
Or a guest.
could you review that for us?
So solfège is a system of reading music.
Is that like do re mi where like
That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
You nailed it. So I mean that's a European system, but it didn't carry so much into the U.S. education of music.
Okay.
So that's but I think every musician should need to learn. Like if you go to Juilliard's, which is an American school, absolutely you'll learn solfège.
And is it basically assigning like a word, so do, re, or mi, to the intervals?
Yeah. So I mean, when you sing a song, you would probably sing the song in the right key because you remember how those syllables sound. When you say "I love you" in a song, you know how love sounds after "I,"
Right.
and you learn the song with the words. And like if you need to hum, or if you need to just tell me the words of a song you barely know, it would be difficult. But if you start singing it, it comes to you. Yeah. So this system is in solfège. So they found these syllables.
Will you demonstrate it for us?
Yeah.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Do, si, do, so, fa, mi, re, do. That's it.
Well, I have a question though. So the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, like from Sound of Music, that's like a major scale.
Yeah.
Are there solfège words for like even the half steps and all the other intervals, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can, but in solfège we don't pronounce them. So when you're talking about it, if you're going to say C sharp, you say do dièse. But when you're singing through a song using those syllables,
Yeah.
there's no time to say do dièse. You just say do, but you end up singing a note that is sharp.
Okay. All right. So there's not like another X number of words.
That would be a tongue twister, yeah.
I'm wondering, opera singing is considered so technically challenging. Where does breathing play into that? Because when I think of opera singing,
Yeah.
it is really the most difficult to do on a grand scale.
90% of it is breathing.
And how?
How is in...
How does one become
Yeah, teach us how to be opera singers.
proficient at breathing, like breathing skills, or obviously you're trying to hold long notes for a long time?
True. The short answer to that is that you need to learn your real habits in your real life. As you are breathing right now, you're breathing very efficiently, but you don't think about it. But when singers need to sing, they know that they need to take a good breath, and they actually over-exaggerate it, making it much more complicated. So singing breath is just a long breath as if you're just frustrated and you go, that was a really good singing breath. I just took a very free breath and I just let it out. If I was singing, when I did that, that would actually turn into a good sound. So, I mean, you've been breathing for so long, your body optimized the way you breathe. And that's a great clue for you. So that's what I teach to my students too.
Are you able to do a little a cappella demonstration of your singing?
Sure.
Are you able?
I feel like we should clear the lane.
Yeah,
like
do we need to back
basketball
up?
lane.
So I'm going to take this off.
Give him some room. Give him some space.
He's working.
So let's see.
Wait, he's trying to Google how to sing. I don't like this. He's got his phone. Isn't that cheating?
Gonna get a tone.
Cool. Swing low, oh sweet chariot, come and forth to carry me home. Swing low, oh sweet chariot, come and forth to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home, a band of angels coming after me, coming forth to carry me home.
That's from La Traviata, right?
He still had to Google that. I just wanted to clear that.
That's great. That's beautiful. Yeah, I don't know how to sing in an operatic way at all.
Well, you don't need to, but it's very common things like, there's this misconception where, like, if your teacher is a classical singer, it's not good for you. If you're a popular musician, if you're a contemporary singer, you need to. It's not true because it's the same instrument.
Right.
And if you have the basics right, if you're using the breath the way I use it, if you're relaxed you don't need to sing in the style I sing, but it is like it comes down to the same instrument working in the same way.
Well, it sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
So what's interesting is you're a baritone, obviously.
I am, yeah.
But when I'm talking to you, you don't sound necessarily like a baritone.
I hear that a lot. I'm
You
always
said-
like quiet, saving the voice. Yeah, but I can do that if you want.
There's certain singers, like I noticed James Taylor. He's a baritone, but like the tenor of his voice, you don't realize it until you start to sing along. You're like, oh my god, he sings.
There are so many things that inspire people to speak in the voice or sing in the voice you do. So there's the physical elements. Your vocal cords have a certain length. Your neck has a certain length. These all contribute to stuff. But then when you're a kid, your mom was talking to you and you picked up a lot from her.
Right.
And if she had a deep voice, you tend to speak with a deeper voice. And then you watch this movie and there's this guy that you like a lot and you kind of inspires you and he has a high pitch, or like you like the singer who's a tenor but you're a baritone. And you just try to sing like him. And that, the combination, all of these things make your own voice. But if your preference, where you use your voice, if it matches with your physicality, then that's what we call singing with one's own voice.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Instead of trying to put on a different or ill-fitting style. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, are you what voice range are you, a tenor or baritone?
Couldn't tell you, buddy.
Same here. I have no idea.
I'll bet my money on a baritone.
Yeah, he's
You seem like you got
baritone.
a nice.
Looking at his
got some
deep
red voice.
Adam's apple.
Oh, the Adam's apple gives you away?
Yeah, like
Really?
the deeper the voices, the Adam's apple sticks out more. And there are exceptions to that. Like, there's this tenor called Kaufman, very famous, and he has Adam's apple out like a bass, but he's a tenor. So there are like really few exceptions, but it's a hormonal thing. So what makes a male voice higher is the hormonal makeup of this person when he was growing up. So the more testosterone he had, the harder the throat got, and then ended up having a deeper voice. So basses always have their Adam's apple way out, and you will see that they would have like long necks. Think of this like nerdy kid, and
long neck, sticky
big,
out,
big
yeah.
glasses, like skinny guy with Adam's apple. He's always like, hey, good morning. So that's the bass right now.
That's interesting. It's funny when you see someone whose voice doesn't necessarily match. I was actually at a bat mitzvah 2 weekends ago, and the cantor was like a young, slim guy that had this massive baritone, the best voice I've heard. Gorgeous. I mean, until today. But a beautiful, beautiful voice. And also the environment where he was singing was great. But it was funny how, like, you would never have thought to look at the guy that's what he would sound like. But
There's a sort of stereotype we have of opera singers as being large and
Not anymore.
outsized.
Not anymore. That used to be true, but
Yeah.
then we learned how to teach singing to people who don't have that body mass. But just like as an opera singer, you have to imagine that you're a big person.
Did that help
Because
being big like that, though? Did that help?
It did. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be fat to be able to sing, but so you have to have momentum in your body. You can't just stay in there and
Right.
hope to hit that note. So a person 300 pounds, when he moves around, he has to have momentum. If he needs to move a few inches forward, that's a big movement for him to move. And that they naturally had it. And skinny people need to learn that. To be able to belt out higher notes. You can't just like be so stationary and hit that note.
I know you've performed with, and trained with some of, not some of, all of the famous opera
Not all,
singers.
there are so many, but I was very lucky.
So I want to ask you about that, but maybe before we do that, you guys want to hit us with another number? Do you have any more songs?
Yeah, a few. The song's called Do What You Want.
Do What You Want. Outlaw Nation. So to find you guys online, Facebook?
Yeah, just Outlaw Nation Music.
Outlaw Nation Music, everybody. Christian Sebastian.
Now that our love has gone away, but it gets the time for me and I to go out and play. I know you didn't really love me anyway. Baby, there's a rumor going around my way. Don't get to what you're going, cause this road is so long. Know what you're doing, cause this feeling is strong. Baby, I need to know so I can move on. And a little bit up, I'll make you wanna sing this song. What you want, what you want, you want. 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 Now that our love has gone away, and I guess it's time for me and I to go out and play. I know you didn't really love me anyway. Baby, there's a rumor going around my way. And I don't care where you're going, cause this road is so long. And I don't know what you're feeling, cause this feeling is strong. Baby, I need to know so I can move on. I'm calling out to you to make you sing this song. What you want, what you want, you want. 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 Put it open up, I'll make you love your life. And if you want to stick it, you can feel the stuff on strike. Everything you love away, you know it's just a game. Put it open, make you wanna sing this song, listen to love. We love the reggae music. You feel the reggae music. You love this reggae music. You feel the reggae music. Thank you.
That's great.
Now that's a dinner.
Where can you find that song?
Anywhere, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you normally get your music.
Okay, it's called and it's What You Want.
Yeah, do what you want.
Well, that's great.
Where did you get your vocal training?
Watching people like God.
And taking notes.
Yeah, exactly. In Google.
So I love that song. Y'all. It's great. So what are some of your over the years? What are some of your favorite shows? What's a musical highlight for you guys?
Oh, maybe like 8 years ago we did a tour with Blues Traveler.
Oh yeah.
And, they played all the normal places like the Fillmore
Okay.
and the Ogden and Denver, all these classic old school, big venues and stuff. That the Red Rocks in
Oh, come on.
Colorado. So yeah.
You got to play live at Red Rocks?
Yeah.
That's killer.
So that was really cool.
That sounds great. Now, you two guys, how long have y'all been together in the band?
Well, he's I guess you could call him fairly new. He's been around for a year.
Okay.
I moved here, a while ago, but I had musicians from all over the country playing with me.
Gotcha.
So
So you built like a new kind of New Orleans all-star band, is that
yeah, basically, yeah.
right? Well, I think you sound great. I think it's a good combination.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're having fun.
So, what other stuff have you played besides doing this project?
I play blues as well.
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
blues and funk and R&B.
With different folks here in town?
Yeah, I played with Shuffle Band. I did recently, 15 and 16, I did some with Warrior King.
Okay.
I Sound, Joel Hitchcock. We did a song called Same Source.
Okay. That's great. Are you doing any stuff with those guys right now? Or?
Not at the time. I just mainly work with Outlaw Nation.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds great. I think you guys sound good together.
Yeah, for sure.
Complementary sounds. Well, cool. So, so David, I wanted to talk about, you were telling me about the Mardi Gras Indian person. Can you tell us a little bit about that? This is related to your project
Yes. One of the leading figures in the Mardi Gras Indian scene is Queen Sharice Harrison Nelson. And she has been a queen for several long years. She grew up in the tradition. And she was also a graduate of our LEAD program. And one of the concerns that the Mardi Gras Indian community has had for years, but I would say especially since Katrina, as more and more people have moved into the city and the spotlight on New Orleans got a lot brighter, has been the imagery and the iconography of Mardi Gras Indian culture. So you have culture bearers who kind of are outsized figures and very in colorful outfits. They come out on Mardi Gras Day. Documentaries have been made about them. Photo essays, coffee table books feature their images. But they're also the least paid. They're one of the most underserved cultural communities in New Orleans. So you have this huge disparity, especially one of perception, right? They're rock stars to a lot of people around the world, but they don't make anything. And especially, they don't make anything out of their imagery. Right. And so what happened was, through working through the LEAD program, Queen Sharice was able to help produce a green paper that kind of provided a little bit more of a model of remuneration for Mardi Gras Indians, where if their image is being used by professional photography, they get some kind of kickback on that. And so it kind of teaches, and a lot of photographers have gotten in on that, and it's been explained to them, and they realize what they're doing. They know the value of their subjects, just like having a model pose for you. But it's a different scene, because Mardi Gras Indian culture is so out in the streets and so public. Yeah. But at the same time, they spend thousands of dollars on these suits, and they make very little money. So what she was able to do was create a very common sense approach to where they can get a little bit of something off of imagery that makes money and also is great for the city. So
I was trying to get my mind around the idea of what you guys are working on, and that's a great example.
Yeah.
It's like something very worthwhile, and it's true. You think about how many people, how many brochures or ad campaigns or different projects use the Indians.
Well, when you say that New Orleans culture bubbles up from the streets, where does it come from? It comes from our neighborhoods, and it comes from the brass band community, it comes from the street community. And that's Mardi Gras Indians, that's brass band people. And who are the most underserved people, the most underserved artists, in my mind, are the people who do this and are photographed and they represent. But what do they get for it?
I think a photograph credit makes perfect sense to me. What's your take on the nature of tourism and the gentrifying sense? Frenchman Street used to feel different. It used to feel God, I'm trying to avoid using the word authentic, but
right.
But people recognized that it was quintessential to New Orleans, and it became a thesis statement for tourism. And you go to New Orleans, you got to go to Frenchman Street, and now Frenchman Street's got 4 more venues that don't really feel like Frenchman Street used to feel.
Well,
and now things change. It was a lot different before I was hanging around there.
Right.
But I guess what I'm asking is, what's your take on that? Because, I guess to point people in this direction, it's almost like you got the darkness in the box is the magic, and you open the box and the darkness goes away.
Yeah.
So how do we tell people about what's special in this box without opening the box?
Well, it's a complicated question. I mean, I can tell you that I spent 7 years away from New Orleans, and every time I came back into town, I would try and hook up with my friends, and I couldn't think of a better way to do it than to say, hey, who wants to meet me down on Frenchman Street? For 7 years, I got no takers, and I'm like, what's going on? When I moved back, I realized the different vibe.
Yeah.
I think I'm big on balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like in some ways, I hate to sound zen about it, but I feel like New Orleans is sort of off its equilibrium when it comes to striking that balance between having an organic, as opposed to authentic, an organically presented culture. But one thing you can't get upset about is, the thing that I keep thinking of is I know bar owners on Frenchman Street and I know managers, and one thing they will say is they are providing amazing amounts of opportunities for working musicians for the in ways that they hadn't had before.
Well,
and
what's interesting,
you're happy for them, but then when it's become sort of overrun, it's sort of like Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
Nobody
So-
goes down there anymore. It's too crowded.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. It's I think that's an interesting point that maybe Outlaw Nation could speak to. Do you guys play on a Frenchman at all?
Checkpoints.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
about it.
Well, the only
Talk
reason,
about authentic.
Yeah, exactly.
the nuance,
playing
the nuance that
Yeah.
I recognize when you say it's providing a lot of opportunities for musicians, that's true. But I remember before, when I was young and walking around Frenchman Street trying to figure it all out, it was utterly inspiring because there was a lot of original music happening, people doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Now it's about providing something on the stage that fits in the hotel brochure section of what New Orleans feels like or Louisiana feels like. It's like, does this music fit right in line with an alligator tour or jambalaya or red beans and rice or something? There's not as much freedom of like, what else? What do you do? Oh, you're brave about it? Get on that stage. It's not that so much. It's now like, do you sound like New Orleans? Do you sound like what the tourists want to hear when they walk in here?
A reasonable facsimile thereof.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to argue with success financially, but then again, that's not the whole thing, obviously. So
Right.
I wonder is if you have any take on that. You can't. I think it's ridiculous to push completely against that. You have to be excited for bars like DBA and Blue Nile to never have to worry about the bottom line, but. I don't know. What's a good way to slow it down? Because you're not going to stop it.
Let me add one thing. On top of the music, one of the more frustrating things, because I come to it from more of a theater and stage background in my coverage, what's frustrating is to see something like the old Mark Theater on St. Claude Avenue, which had become this brave new world. They got priced out of their neighborhood, and now they're way down across the canal in Old Araby, I think it is.
They went to Araby.
And the Valiant Theater, the owner of Old Mark had to open up something like 5 miles down the way.
Yeah.
First things first is I want to see artists get paid. If artists are getting paid and they're making a real income, I can concede some of that ground about commercial versus authentic and playing the music that the tourists want to hear.
Yeah.
Another thing that's funny is we used to laugh at the lack of real culture on Bourbon Street and how Frenchman Street had it. Well, push comes to shove, if you put a gun to my head, would I tell somebody to go to Bourbon Street or Frenchman Street if they were coming into town? I'd still tell them more happily.
Yeah, of course.
It's better. But
Yeah.
I wish I knew what the checks and balances would be. I will say this: if they'd have been enforcing the codes and the laws that were on the books, you wouldn't have had. Tell me if I'm wrong. You wouldn't have had some of these places opening in the way that they're opening.
Yeah.
And then once the doors opened, so to speak, it just became the Wild West down there in terms of the number of not just the number of venues, but what they're doing and the proportion of which they're doing it.
Yeah, I don't like the Wild West metaphor. I think when the Wild West became Opryland,
Yeah, there you
feels
go.
better. Because it used to
Disneyland,
feel
Drew.
more like the Wild West. Or, you could walk around and meet some stranger in the night who was high on something and told you something you'd remember for the rest of your life. And now it's just, what I like to call the beaded people walking around. And
I went with as open a mind as you can imagine, and I got to admit, I was depressed. I wanted to
but,
it.
you can't like. This has been this is an age-old question, right?
And it's cyclical in some ways.
Yeah, and it's a good thing in plenty of ways, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guess just from the creative angle, I guess the only thing I can add optimistically from the creative angle is, to me, it feels like it's just moving upriver. It's in the Bywater. It's not in the Marigny so much, and it's maybe it moves to the 9th Ward next. That'd be cool, like across the bridge. Like, what's going on over there?
As long as it doesn't price neighbors out of a
course.
neighborhood that they came back.
Yeah,
after
right.
They were living in an underserved community before Katrina, and they had the pride to come back to the
Right.
lower 9th Ward.
Yeah.
If they start getting priced out of their own neighborhood,
Yeah.
I would be really mad. I would be hopping
well,
mad.
homeowners will will reap the benefits of their property going up, but yeah, renters would have trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there another street that could become the next French? If French Street becomes the
Well,
next bourbon?
I felt like St. Claude was kind of on
Yeah.
that way, but even they're kind of getting
Hi-Ho and
priced out.
Saturn and everybody?
You go down St. Claude on a Friday or Saturday night. It's insane. There
Oh,
are people
yeah.
parked on the neutral ground,
Totally.
walking. Tuesday night, which is a dead night, is when the social
Yeah,
bike riders.
yeah.
It's crazy. You can't find a parking spot
Yep.
within 2 blocks of St.
Totally.
Claude. I don't know if that's.
But I got, it's reassuring as I'm growing up, and I come back to town, to my home, and I want to know what's happening. Where's that little corner where something cool's happening? And I feel like if you keep your finger on some pulse somewhere, it's not OZ anymore. It's not you won't find it on a radio. But if you listen to your friends who are still hanging out in those sectors, who still smell like their armpits, they can tell you. They can tell you which way to go,
Yeah.
and you can go find cool things, happening. Where you recognize a lot of those same local characters, and it's moving. It's not going away. It's just moving.
Speaking of going away and moving, did you briefly move to Atlanta and come back?
Yes, I did.
What happened there?
Moved away. I'd been back in New Orleans for about 8 months after Katrina and helped Gambit kind of get back up on the street. We got flooded out of our offices in Mid-City.
Right.
Came back, and then I had both a great opportunity to become the arts and entertainment editor for the Alternative News Weekly there.
Right.
But frankly, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, actually moved there as well to get a job at the Daily newspaper. And so in a very, very romantic, stocky way, I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
We got married, adopted an incredible kid who actually was born in New Orleans, fittingly enough,
Okay.
Eli, and we moved back in 2013, kind of in stages. I came back in the fall of 2013, and then she came back in 2014.
Oh, so you were back. You were away for a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh, it's,
yeah, too long,
I didn't realize you were going that long.
way too long.
So, what were you happiest about when you got back?
It's as cliche as the way I moved here, because I moved here after I came for Jazz Fest. It's that bad a cliche story. I hate to say it, but the soul, the soul of the community,
Right.
the feeling. As soon as I came back, within the first week, I was running into people at Canseco's,
Right.
at a bar or a restaurant or on the street. I mean, literally, there's so many cliches about New Orleans that are so freaking true. And I just felt like I was home again. I was one of those adoptees,
Nice.
who come here and they go native. But when you see that familiarity and everybody who really is proud of where they live, and there's a sense of community. There is a sense of community in Atlanta that people don't appreciate because they have really cool neighborhoods. They're so cut off from one another because of the crazy traffic patterns.
Right.
But you really feel it more organically. There's the word again, organic or
Right,
authentic.
right, yeah.
It's almost a reflex reaction here.
What was the best restaurant that you found since you came back? What was your biggest discoveries?
New restaurant?
Yeah, something that
I
wasn't
mean-
there when you were here before.
I'll tell you the one that I've got reservations for next week because it's not a new space, but I was so happy to see Coquette finally,
Yeah.
the space at the corner of Magazine and Washington finally find a home because there have been great restaurants that have just tanked there.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't remember what was before Coquette, but
One restaurant, I think it was,
okay.
and there was something else before that. It was just cursed, that space. And it's a beautiful space.
Gotcha.
But the same things that were happening in Atlanta and their restaurant scene were starting to happen in New Orleans as well, embracing national trends and innovative cuisine, but still, there's still that like cool New Orleans vibe that you get too.
right.
What
You're
about
going
you?
next week?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What about-
Valentine's Day, baby.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Oh,
God.
nice, man. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me,
You
buddy.
got to get those reservations in early, brother.
Oh, yeah. I tried to go for Saturday, and it was like, well, 5:30 or 9.
Yeah. What about you, Guy? What's your favorite restaurant?
Christian and Sebastian. Oh, or Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy. I thought you were using Guy like, hey, Guy.
Oh, Guy, yeah. Hey, gang.
So let's see.
He gets a lot of that.
I think, gosh, I loved Fatouche,
Fatouche.
but they're closed now. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna all pull the Middle Eastern restaurants in there. That's home food for me.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So
There's a new place on this street right here, right up the street from Wayfare. There's something opening up. It's either open or about to open.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
You have to go drive by on the
I'm
way
gonna
out.
have to
I
check
don't
it
know
out.
the
Yeah.
But, okay, so Fatouche.
Yeah.
I like mid-city area, Boswell, Jamaican food.
Yeah. Sometimes when you
be on Frenchman Street.
Yes,
Oswell.
When you drive by, sometimes it's like the whole block smells delicious.
exactly.
I love that. So I have my brother-in-law is from Jamaica, so I've gotten to go down a lot and they eat a lot of. That's Caribbean food is like my favorite other food.
Yeah.
besides New Orleans food. I guess it's almost the same thing. But like rice and peas instead of rice and beans and plantains and all that stuff. Oh my gosh. Do you guys ever get the at Jazz? Well, my first stop for Jazz Fest every year is is it Palmer's? You get the Caribbean fish and the curry chicken patty.
Yeah.
Literally for 22 years, I walk into the fairgrounds. That's what I eat. So what's y'all's first food stop at Jazz
Ooh, good
Fest?
question. Jazz Fest is approaching. It's a great question.
Crawfish beignets.
Yeah.
Crawfish beignets every time.
That's the same for me.
Crawfish beignets. My wife likes the soft shell crab po' boy.
Crawfish bread.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, the
Crawfish
cheese.
breads.
The whole thing about the crawfish bread, you eat the crawfish bread, and then that's all I could eat. I think it might be a million calories in one thing.
I'm not concerned with caloric intake at Jazz Fest. But there's the plate. They have the restaurants that'll do 3 items, and then they'll give you a little discount if you do the plate of 3.
Yeah.
One of them does, what is it? It's like the crawfish sack is one, which is like a little phyllo dough sack with crawfish and, something in there. And then there's
Actually,
like...
that's what it was, the crawfish sack that I liked. I'm sorry,
yeah,
not the
okay,
beignets.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly
So
my favorite.
the
yeah.
folks that do that do a whole spread plate. And I don't remember the other 2 things, but that plate is phenomenal. What else is on the plate?
Crawfish sack and accoutrement.
Yeah,
Cochon
like
de
2
lait
other
po' boy,
things.
too, is
Oh yeah, it's
pretty
tough
sweet.
to beat. But everybody, it's been gentrified. There's too long of a line, right? But there's,
Gentrified po' boys.
Band name.
What like
Gentrified po' boys.
What's the crawfish enchilada? Tasty, things when you know your band's coming up and you gotta go get some food quick and you can't be standing in a line. I feel like that should be a list. The lines
to-go.
that will be short but pretty tasty.
Right. The compromise.
The penne chicken po' boy would be on my list of things that will be a short line.
I've never
but
had that.
Jamba Jamba?
Don't
Am
know
I,
about
am I
that.
doing that right? Am I saying it
Jamba
right?
Jamba? I don't know.
The African dish. I'm not doing it right.
I don't know.
Jamba Jama. I apologize.
What's that about?
I don't remember, but
What's-
I remember
what's in
I
it?
like.
What's
I
what-
loved it. I don't
Oh,
remember.
don't even know what's
Google.
You remember it was delicious.
The African restaurant on Royal. Help me.
Oh, yeah.
They do it.
Don't know.
Yes,
Yeah, there you
Benishan does it. I think.
Thank you so much for the save.
And I think it's Jamba Jama.
So I want to hear some music. You guys have another song?
Oh, yeah.
You know any more songs?
Maybe one more.
All right. Well, you know what? No, I'm going to do something else.
Ooh.
Looks just like a river, too much for me to see. It looks just like the sunlight, so much for me to breathe. Giving me something to believe in, giving me someone to care for, giving me something to believe in. 'Cause you finally had agreed to this love. Oh, 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 yeah. Giving me something to believe in, giving me someone to care for, giving me something to believe in. 'Cause you finally had the guts to give it all. Thank you so much.
That was great. Outlaw Nation. What's the name of the song?
Something to believe in.
iTunes.
Yep.
Something to believe in
Are
on
these
iTunes.
are these all off your latest album or somewhere?
No, actually, I'm just playing songs from
Just-
some of the
yeah.
different records.
Whatever's coming to mind. Cool.
You're picking up songs from the last 10 albums.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm trying to put out a new record soon, and I don't have an album title yet.
Uh-oh.
Tell me some of your 10 album titles. So, to give me just get the gears moving. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. One of the records is called Tripping Wire.
Tripping Wire, I like that. Okay.
Blood Money.
Blood Money's good.
Back in Babylon.
Nice.
Wow,
Missing something. What you said? Missing.
Greatest Misses.
Yeah, great.
Greatest Misses. That's great. That's a great one.
That's really good.
See, there's something really special about an album title. You know, it's like you gotta write a poem in 2 words or
Right,
3
right.
words. You know, so hard. And jazz musicians tend to be, you know, cute about it because that's the only 3 words they have to write the whole record. You know?
Think you're
or,
up for it.
You know,
You can tune a piano,
miles
but you can't
ahead
tune
or
a fish.
something. Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
You know, but yeah, it's just so hard. It's like the first, you know, when people don't have any idea, if they're not familiar with your music,
Right.
And that's your only chance. Luckily, you guys have a band name. I just go by my name, but to have a bit, that's a start. Outlaw Nation. You get an idea. You get some idea of
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
coming, and the album title is the only other chance you get on the album cover to you know give an idea. So
True,
I'm
true.
struggling, is all I'm saying with this album title.
There are these Facebook cheats, you know, like, hey, the color of your shirt and the last thing you ate, put them together, that's your band.
Yeah.
There's a band name generator online. I feel your pain, Andrew, because I've got a new project and I'm doing it under a band name. And I think of every day, or my kids think of like 7 new band names, and I just keep writing them down, and I keep finding something wrong with every one. I keep finding. So I've got about 6 that I've not totally shot down yet, but I find it. To me, coming up with the band name, more than the album title, the band name is more painful and difficult than creating the content.
Yeah, it's just immovable. It's just what it's going to be.
It's your
and-
brand.
Man, yeah,
The
it's
brand
tough.
is painful. So, look, Guy, I want to ask you about Luciano Pavarotti.
Okay.
And Christian, I want to ask you about Fishbone in a second. But first, I got to read some sponsors. Happy Hour is brought to us today by Basics Swim and Gym. A full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. Bikinis, one piece. Bikinis, one piece, cover-ups, everything you need for beach and poolside is at Basics Swim and Gym, right next to the lingerie store Basics Underneath on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Ask for Desiree or Peggy. They're great folks over there. They'll take care of you. As you guys may know, I buy my wife a birthday gift, an anniversary gift from Basics.
Why would we know that?
Every year.
Why would we know that?
Well, we discussed it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I
I
forgot.
forgot about that.
Actually, Basics one time did a home delivery for me. I'm not saying they're going to do this for you, but I was working late. I couldn't get to the store. They delivered it to my porch, a pair of
that's
underwear.
special. Wow, yeah.
All right. Our other sponsor today is Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to Hangover Destroyer website, hdestroyer.com, hdestroyer.com. If you write Happy Hour in the coupon code, you'll get 30% off Hangover Destroyer,
Sweet.
and you'll be able to seize the dawn.
Right on. Wait, so Christian, Fishbone, this is a band you are in?
No, this
Okay.
is a band that I love. That
Okay,
I
cool,
became friends with
Oh,
over the
nice.
last decade.
Are they? They're not from here.
No,
Okay.
California.
California. The reason I noticed in your bio you talked about Fishbone. That Fishbone was the first cassette EP that I purchased as a
whoa.
young fella.
Wow.
And I played the thing out till the cassette fell apart.
I
Right
should
on.
add, Kid Merv, longtime New Orleans trumpeter, has been a sideman for them off and on for years.
Nice.
And one of the best live shows I've ever seen, by
Nice,
far.
Yeah.
But so what have you had any interactions with those guys or funny stories?
Yeah, well,
They've got some unfunny stories too, I know.
Oh, I know, but that'll be one that they'll have to tell you.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just met them in Dallas a long time ago. Their manager is also the managers who discovered Sublime.
Nice.
So that whole thing kind of happened where we played a show with them and met them, and eventually played some shows for Sublime actually before Brad passed.
You did.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
But yeah, Fishbone has always been one of my favorite bands, growing up in the 80s or whatever, I'm an old,
Killer.
well, I guess sort of kind of an old guy. But, go ahead.
So
No,
I
that's it.
was going to ask, how are you guys moving and shaking now? Do you have a manager or an agent? Or
Yeah,
who's-
actually, the guys at Silverback, which is Fishbone's manager,
Gotcha.
Slightly Stupid.
Okay, yeah.
Band called The Expendables, who's actually coming here Sunday
Nice.
to House of Blues.
Cool.
They've been helping us do a lot of stuff.
So they're lining you up with some shows where you're open for people like Blues Travel. Get in front of some audience
Exactly.
where you've got comparable music, but crowds that they can feel 90% of the room.
Yeah,
If you bring
yeah.
10%, everybody's happy. so
Yeah,
to
yeah,
speak.
yeah. Well, we've gotten a chance over the last however many years to kind of build our own fan base as well.
Totally,
So,
yeah.
You know, they've done a great job of helping us do that, though.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into this band, not the Chili Peppers, but Pepper?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The guys from Hawaii. Yeah.
Are they from Hawaii?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a Weezer show a couple years ago up at LSU, and Pepper was the opening act, and I'd never heard them, but they were a fun show.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's 3 guys from Hawaii, man. But they live in San Diego now.
I
but-
figured I thought they were West Coast, but so they were Hawaii
Yeah, oh
originally.
yeah, yeah. Born and raised.
It was the same kind of California
Uh-huh.
Sublime.
Yep.
It's all cousins. I like that whole sound, that whole scene.
How often are you guys getting on the road these days?
Oh man, we probably do 200 shows a year.
Yeah, man,
250.
nice.
We
Heck
stay
yeah.
stay on the road.
What's
All
the,
around
what's the
or mostly southeast?
no?
Or?
We do national tours.
Yeah.
National tours.
what's the
everywhere.
riding setup? You got like a van or how do you
Depends on
guys-
the tour.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
What's
you know
what's the
that.
biggest rig? What are you
Oh,
riding with?
We've been on the bus a few
I
times.
mean, like what like the rig that you guys own? Like what kind of rig do you have? Do
it's
you have a
just
little trailer?
Yeah,
or-
normal 12 passenger with a.
Yeah,
I don't know
totally.
what size the van, the trailer
Trailer
is,
is,
but yeah.
Cool. And how many people do you guys usually run with?
Like 9 people with the front of house guy, and
Cool.
you know, 5-piece band always, but
Right.
you know, have a front of house guy and a couple of guys that hang around to help us tote equipment and
That's
sell
killer.
merch.
I mean, you know, to me it sounds like a full-on. Sounds like a great show, and I'm enjoying the tunes. So
thanks,
forgive me for saying like, why just Checkpoint Charlie's? Where else are you guys playing in town? Like, you know
we
what I
play
mean?
Hi-Ho, we play Chicky
Cool.
Wawa.
Totally.
John is a,
Where's the next show? I guess is what, what I
well, the
should
next
ask.
show is the show, that late show on April
French
7th.
Quarter Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
On April 7th at Checkpoint.
So folks,
I just love that place, man.
Checkpoint?
It's just-
Yeah, I
it's
could
just
dig
so-
it. I got my
We did
favorite
well there.
spots like Carrollton Station.
Right,
I love
right.
that spot, man. They don't do music a whole lot anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, people coming to town for French Quarter Fest who are listening out there. Mostly just my mom and my cousins. But just kidding, there's people listening. But yeah, French Quarter Fest, plenty of influx of people, and I'm sure you guys are gonna get some folks at Checkpoint. Yeah.
So Outlaw Nation next show April 7th, Checkpoint Charlie.
Yep,
Andrew, when's your next show to let people know about?
Tomorrow night at DBA.
Tomorrow
But,
night.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if anybody's going to be listening that soon. That's February 9th. So if you missed that one, there's another one. There's always another one. Don't worry.
Is DBA the normal spot to catch you at this point?
Nah. I love playing DBA. I do. But I feel like I only play it maybe 4 times a year.
Okay.
In town, normal place. I'll say I play Carrollton Station twice a year. I love that show.
Good.
We'll do like one for Christmas and one for Jazz Fest. You know where you need to catch me, fellas? You need to catch me at a little event that I'm putting together.
Yeah.
It's I'm sure you're all very familiar with post shows for festivals. You know, there's always post events. You know, it's like Pilot Fish events where you know everybody's coming in town, so you do things after the fest. But nobody really does anything before the fest, do they? And you know, there's a lot of morning people who you know want to maximize their day, so they're going to get some brunch or something. So I'm putting together an event. Not the first year. I've been doing this for a while, fellas. It's coffee, mimosas, Bloody Marys, brunch, and some mellow jams by yours truly, Paul Sanchez, Kristen Diablo, Alexis and the Samurai,
Where is
and
this?
Aurora Nealon at Bayou Beer Garden.
Ah, fun.
The
Good venue.
The event is called Breakfast. Come on. Come on, right?
It's great.
Yeah.
That's a
so-
great
See
venue.
what he did there.
Yeah.
Every artist you just mentioned, including you, is awesome. So that sounds like a good
Thanks,
show.
dude. Yeah, it's the only pun I've ever come up with that I think I might make money off of one day.
I thought you were going to go with Duhonia. But it's just,
Yeah, I have too much shame. I can't, you know, not as clever.
Maybe Breakfast could just be the album title.
Oh wow.
wait.
You know, it doesn't fit at all, but it's the best I got so far.
That sounds great. So your next show again tomorrow night at DBA. Guy, when can we see you perform? When are you going to be
We're going to be doing Faust next.
Faust?
Like in a month and a half.
at Mahalia Jackson?
Mahalia Jackson.
What's
yeah.
In March or April?
I can't recall it on top of my head. We're going to start rehearsals like in a few weeks, so
Okay.
give it a month and a half.
So this spring,
gonna
it's
be
New
in
Orleans
there.
Opera Association.
Yep, and
Faust.
then and you can find tickets and details. On the
And who are you playing?
website. I'm in the chorus.
Okay, you're not the devil.
No.
And there is a cover. Just
Here's a cover.
It's-
I gotta. All right, look, I'm going to read that. So wait, do we have time for a song, or I just have to read credits? We'll do a song. You guys want to? Do you? What's a song? Maybe, hit us something. Maybe. Well, play us something great. I was gonna say something we can sing along with. Oh. Get all these singers. Do you do like a Bob Marley song or something? I want to hear guys sing opera harmony.
Oh,
no.
yes.
That's not going to happen.
I wonder where you are, and I wonder why you have all them scars. But now I know why you let me beat you, and I don't know why. Why don't you run away to a place she can't find you anyway? Or better yet, find me. I can love you for all eternity. Whoa, why you let her beat you, baby, down, down, down? Yo, why you let her slap you, baby, down, down, down? Now that you can see, you're everything I'll always need. I wanna make you stay and never ever go away. I'll be all I can be, protect you from that stupid SOB. Take you away so far and wash away all your scores. Whoa, why you let him beat you, baby, down, down, down? Yo, why you let him slap you, baby, down, down, down? Yo, do you wanna change your life for something good? Yo.
I got to tell you guys, I came on this show years ago, just, coming to play a song or something, and Grant, who's usually the host, said something like, if you could come every week, I'd love it, like kind of in passing, but I kind of called his bluff, and I said, yeah, I'll do that, and I just started like co-hosting, so to speak, which I liked as like this push to try to come up with a new song or like a new draft every week and have it available to play, but that's all fine, but I think you guys should be like the... like weekly backing band, a la like a late night show, like you know what I'm saying? Like just like we fade out on one of your songs. It's you guys. Yeah, it's really pleasant, beautiful stuff. So thanks for
Thank you. Well, the thing about it is like I've been following you. You might not know this because I don't really bother people like that, but no, I've followed you. You're really an amazing songwriter.
Oh,
yourself.
thanks, dude. Thank you. Let's get together and do you drink? Not so much. Damn it. That's all right. Well, we could still get together if you don't mind me drinking, and maybe we can write something.
That sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Y'all sound excellent. Guy, it's been a pleasure listening to you sing and learning about what you do.
Thank you so much.
Christian, Sebastian, you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much for having us, man.
David Lee Simmons, you're awesome.
Thank you. You too.
Andrew Duhon, you're awesome. I wish you sang a song today.
It's
I always enjoy it. So I'm gonna. Can you guys play something else pretty while I read these closing credits? Let's try
That's
out.
What I'm talking about.
That was really a lot of fun. Your music really gave me a boost. I'm actually leaving here to go to another concert. My son's doing a jazz concert at Lusher up the street, so it's a musical evening. Today's producer is Graham DePonte. 3 syllables, by the way. The music director is Christian Unruh. Music producer is Jean Valois. Technical director Thomas Walsh. Live feed directors Asher Griffith and Grayson Jernigan. The theme music was written by Mitch Foreman. His current music is being performed by Christian and Sebastian, well, just Christian at the moment. If you'd like to be on the show, drop us a line. Our address is on the website. Check out our other happy hours and other shows. You want to tell them about these?
Oh, could do. Check out our other happy hour shows. Out to Lunch, Peter Raschuti live at Commander's Palace. True to the Game with Chris True. Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss and The Man Who Ate New Orleans. Ray Kanata. Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker. And Milo's Music Parlor with Kim Vu. And the podcast about death, Death the Podcast with psychologist Dr. Arian Elfont. Questions from the Waiting Room with psychiatrist Nick Pajic. And Psych Ward with Dr. Ross Shields. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. Keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media on all of the we'reitsneworleans.com.
That's my favorite part of the script.
Yeah. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and our Facebook page. The photos are taken today by Catherine King. If you're listening to this on your podcast app, thanks for subscribing, and please take a moment to rate and review us. That helps other people find us.
The show was recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon and everyone around the table here at Wayfare and back at our office at INO Broadcasting, thanks for joining us. I'm Rich Collins, in for Grant Morris. He and the rest of the Happy Hour crew will be back after Mardi Gras. In the meantime, we'll post some classics on the website for you to enjoy. And we'll meet you back here in March for more Happy Hour.
Hear that? That's the sweet sound of Minute Maid slushies at McDonald's, turning up your summer with every sip, slurp, and ah.
Get a small sweet peach, blue raspberry, or fruit punch slushie for just $2. Or get any size soft drink for $1. Price and participation may vary. Limited time only. Cannot be combined with combo meal.